Hi, welcome back to episode 43 today. So, where are we at today, Ian?
So today we're going to cover three major subjects. One of them is the teaching from Yeshua about
Okay.
the nature of reality.
Oh,
So a
okay.
little bit complicated, but
Yeah.
we're going to try to do that.
Mm-hmm.
The second aspect of this presentation today is the famous miracle of the fish.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah. And the
Mm-hmm.
last one is we're going to be introducing a new character, Nicodemius, who is part of the Sanhedrin and will
Okay.
play a more important role later on when
Mm-hmm.
Yeshua has some issues with the Jewish authorities and the
Okay.
Romans.
All
Yeah.
right. Beautiful.
So on that day, a lot of disciples are attending Yeshua's teachings, on the side of a small hill. So this time he's not teaching on the shore of the lake, but he's more in the mountains overlooking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Miriam, the mother of Yeshua, is sitting next to Eleazar. And again, we're going to use the name Eleazar Yohanan. After his initiation, he changed name, but
Mm-hmm.
I
Just to
think
kind of keep things, there's a
right.
lot of
Yeah,
different names here,
exactly.
right? So
Yes.
it
Yeah,
helps. That
it does.
helps.
Yeah. And so there is a
Mhm.
large crowd spread in the meadow, and all the people who had decided to give a meaning to their life, and we're going to name a few of them. So there is Philip, Peter, Levi, Jacob, Tade, Andrew, Thomas, Hester, Yakuba, and Shlomit that we introduced in the previous episode, right? Simon, Miriam, of course, Barthélemy, Judah, and many, many more. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the disciples at that point are having problems on a daily basis. And so, what is causing those problems? We have the religious authorities, of course. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they don't like what Yeshua is doing. The small local powers,
Mm-hmm.
in each village, you
Right.
have, and also the pressure from the spouses and the children and the families. And this was the most difficult to work with,
Mm-hmm.
and especially Peter is suffering a lot because he has a fishing business, right?
Right.
His livelihood is based on fishing,
Mm-hmm.
and his business is in trouble, and because he's not in Capernaum on top of that.
Oh,
He's
he's so
following Yeshua throughout
okay.
the mountains and
Mm-hmm.
wherever he's teaching, and therefore, as a fisherman, he doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Makes it kind of hard to make a living.
Right. And even his kids, who are also, grown-ups,
Mm-hmm.
are calling their father an irresponsible with the head in the clouds.
Oh, okay.
That's how they are,
Yeah.
describing
How
their
they're
father.
seeing
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
And so the problem is so critical that Yeshua decides to cover it in depth.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to try to address that. And so he starts his teaching by, his words were never you must or you must not, because this is the question, right? What should we do?
Right.
Should we follow the teachings, or
Mm-hmm.
should we stay with our family and work,
Right.
So,
Gosh, it kind of reminds me of like today when people awaken, right? A lot of things happen, right?
yes.
With family
Oh,
and
yes. And
they have to
couples, and yeah.
couples split
Mm-hmm.
up and
Yes.
it's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so Yeshua was always, simply asking that people be true to themselves
Mm-hmm.
and with the people they love as well, And when a truth goes through us and we recognize the beautiful, the great in it, only us can find the right place for it. So people have to understand that what made sense for someone was not always the same for someone else.
Right.
So this is always what you said. It's
Mm-hmm.
difficult to accept. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Yeshua was saying to his disciple, the most important is to never have a judgment about anything. So judging is always hurting the others, one way or the other. And at that point, there is a big crowd in the meadow, listening to him. And Peter is overwhelmed with his emotions, And it is his brother Andrew who is asking the questions for him. He cannot talk. And Andrew says, Rabbi, what would you do? Would you leave behind the people you love if you felt, even today, that a light greater than what you have experienced was pushing you, what would you do? Would you be a traitor to the love of your family? And Yeshua responds, and what do you think I did, Andrew, so that I can be today in front of you?
Yeah.
But why do you say traitor or rebel? The heart does not deceive when it listens and understands what is filling it up. And the soul does not deceive more when it realizes that it is getting closer to the source.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the question one must ask is the following: what is the height of my vision? Or rather, from which altitude am I observing my life and the lives of the other people I love?
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps another question: what is more precious than my life and the life of those who loves me? So what I always said is this: what is more precious than everything is the nature, the essence of the life that flows in us and allow us to love, in fact, right?
Right.
It's true, because without the essence, without the spontaneity, without the energy flowing through you,
Right.
you cannot love anybody else.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So Yeshua continues, a voice inside me always told me that to leave is not to abandon. It's not the same.
Right.
Yeah. For the one who truly loves and does not cheat with the stream of life, all departures are illusion. It is simply an act, among others, in the immense theatrical performance of our existences.
I like the theatrical
Yeah.
performance.
I mean, yeah, he takes it at a very high level, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But listen to that story. So again, addressing this big crowd, is starting a story. In the land of the high snows, and we're talking about the Himalayas, right? Where I journeyed, a man is revered, and they call him the Awakened. And for the people who follow the previous episodes, we know we are talking about Gautama Buddha.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So Yeshua continues. Who was he? A prince with his wife and children, a man who for a moment fell asleep in the comfort of his life. And believe me, prince or not, you do not need a large wealth to fall asleep.
Right.
However, turning his gaze inside himself, that man wanted to see elsewhere. I knew little about his path, but enough to understand that he found the frontiers of his slumber, and that beyond them he discovered what it is to suffer.
Mm.
He understood it so well that one morning he left. He has not abandoned anybody. He left everything to seek the path to the liberation of the suffering. Not only for himself, but for the whole humankind. Was he a traitor to his beloved? Was he a coward, escaping in the night, wife and children? He simply was, I am telling you, of the race I call the sun seekers. Try to understand from that story what you can grasp. As far as I am concerned, I will not judge anything, and I will not encourage towards any decision. One thing is certain: every being must learn to recognize the nature of what is living inside him and not lie to himself.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so after this little story, Peter suddenly asked, Rabbi, the one you call the Awakened, did he manage to free himself from suffering? And Yeshua responds, everybody over there affirms that he did, and all in me tells that it is true. However, he not only freed himself from the clutches of suffering, but also from the origin of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the origin of the suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Disciples of his disciples are saying that he went beyond the universe of illusion, this giant spider web in which all beings believe living, when in fact they are simply in a sketch of the life.
It keeps like saying way too much about it being theater, sketches.
Yes. So Peter asks again, are we also in this web? And Yeshua responds, and why would you not be in it?
Yeah.
Not only you are trying to free yourself out of it, but you are also oozing the matter with which it is made of.
Mm-hmm.
You are the builders, the craftsmen of your own jails.
Boy, this is some really good teaching.
Yes, very deep, very profound, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that you are different from the locusts that you eat occasionally? Different from these trees which are protecting you from the rain and the sun? Or even from these rocks on which you are sitting?
Mm-hmm.
So now I think he's going even deeper, into the nature of
Right.
reality. Yeah.
Right.
Very little in truth is separating you. Everything, including me as you see me, is made of the assembly of minuscule stardust, similar to seeds of light. A consciousness is fabricating them and is placing life into these assemblies. A consciousness which is trying to awake and which is itself similar to these seeds of light, generated by another consciousness, infinite and incommensurable, the consciousness of the eternal, the only one that we may try to conceive and understand, but which is, I am telling you, so small in comparison to what is.
Mm.
So, my friends, here I am among you to shake you even more and tear down your truth. Because the locusts, as well as the trees and the rocks, are in you, and that what you are seeing is only an illusion that deserves you to live the person that you wish you are.
Mm.
So, I don't know if maybe we shouldn't add anything else. Just
Can I just add something on a personal note?
Oh, yes.
It's probably one of the most difficult things that people go through
Yes,
when
it is
they
the most difficult.
awaken, because all of a sudden you're a different person, you're seeing things differently, like Yeshua, right?
Mhm.
And then the person that you've been with for 25 years doesn't recognize you anymore.
Right.
So, it's happened to many, many people that I know, myself included.
Mhm.
Like, same for you. And yeah, it's interesting to hear this happening back then too, like
Right.
people really experiencing and understanding. Well,
Yes.
Yeshua did.
Yeah.
And he was teaching that. We haven't been taught that.
Oh, you mean in the Bible?
Well, yeah. Yeah, it would have been nice to have
Mhm.
that understanding.
What I like about what he said also is all the different levels of. First, he's talking about the eternal. They try to
Right.
understand the creation of the eternal, but this is only a small seeds of light compared to what is.
Right.
So I think this is introducing the multiple levels of creator and gods, what we call gods.
Right. Right.
Yeah. It's actually going infinite. There is no end to it. Yeah. So at one point, Jacob starts stuttering. He said, "Oh, you know how to speak to us, Rabbi, and we know how your words are truth. Otherwise, why would we be there?"
Yeah, following him.
Right. But between the words and the acts, how can we apply all this in our daily life? It is said that you're my brother by blood, but, and again, Jacob is the youngest brother of Yeshua,
Okay.
born from Miriam. And Yeshua goes, "Come to me, my brother, come closer." And not far from Yeshua, there is a large pile of rocks, with one of them about the height of a man. So it's a big slab of rock, And Yeshua stands up and with Jacob near him, point his hands and arms toward the large rock. So, And in his soul, he's also calling the presence of his Father. And very slowly, he moves his hand to the surface of the large stone. And he does one step, perhaps two, until his fingers and then the palm of his hand are penetrating the rock.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
He's been doing a lot of work.
And from Yeshua, what he's describing, he said, it was the same sensation than touching sand. It was tender and soft. And more than anything, it was loving as much as Yeshua was loving it. Okay.
It was being recognized,
So,
right?
right.
Too, right?
Yeshua
feeling it, knowing it.
So Yeshua is going to continue until his arm is inside the rock, all the way to his elbow.
Wow.
So in front of the whole crowd of disciples, he's sliding his arm into the rock.
That's a dangerous thing to do at that time, don't you think? Like to be showing that kind of stuff. That was
well, you know what? He's actually showing them the nature of reality.
But you know how people would they freak out today, so that was pretty brave of him to show him that.
But he's showing that basically we are made of nothing.
Right. I understand what he's trying to show. I'm just thinking that's.
And so while he's doing that around him, it's just silence and stupor, not a wisp of hair, not even a bird singing in the surroundings. Yeah. And slowly, Yeshua is going to pull his arm out of the rocks. But without waiting, he pulls Jacob near him, and he places Jacob's arm horizontally until Jacob touches the rock with the tip of his fingers. And then he's placing his other hand in Jacob's back, right behind the heart of Jacob's, in order to create a strong, loving vibration. Okay. And Yeshua feels at that point the crystalline vibration runs through the body of Jacob, which is actually shivering, he's trembling and shivering. And in turn, the hand of Jacob's penetrates the rock. Just a few seconds, intense, loving, but just enough to make him sing. You see, you can also do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to have the knowing that you can do it, right? And then the connection to that rock. I mean, you become one with it.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. And this is why he was saying, he was talking about the locust, he was talking about the trees and the rocks. I mean, they're also part of us.
Right. Yeah.
Part of the same creation. And so at that point, Yeshua is going to bring his brother back to the group. And poor Jacob is profoundly shaken, He's split between fear and the sense of marvel,
Right.
He's shivering, and he said that he could barely feel his arm, Because I suspect that Yeshua basically dematerialized somehow his arm,
Right.
Or left enough gap between the atoms, so that it could penetrate the rock.
Yeah.
And the whole group is petrified, so to speak, right? Not really knowing how to interpret what they saw. And in fact, Yeshua realized that he has taken the whole group on a much higher vibratory state by doing that, affecting their mental reaction, And all these men and women could now ask themselves, what is real? When you see that one of your friends, or brothers can put his hand into a rock,
right?
You wonder, okay, what is real? They would not know, of course, how to integrate this teaching before a long time, but the seeds had been planted. And the true nature of the dream would be revealed, much later. So Miriam, the wife, comes to Yeshua with a worried look on her face. She said, Rabboni, tell me, I need to understand. When you call your father, when you invoke his name and perhaps his image in you, does that also belong to the dream? And Yeshua is extremely happy that she is asking this question. And he responds, yes, it also belongs to the dream, because this power, that living wave, that love that ungraspable intelligence that I name Awun, the Father, or the Eternal, nothing of it that you can imagine does exist in the way humans of this planet think about it. Yes, all these names that we give are just disguises. We are still so undeveloped that we need to paint and name what cannot be grasped or defined. And so at that point, Judah and Simon, who were close to Miriam, listening to that answer, they thank Yeshua for these explanations. And in turn, Yeshua, appreciate and is very grateful that Miriam asked such question. Because, that's also a question that we can ask today, right?
Exactly.
When we invoke God, I know there are some typical representation, which are completely stupid, but anyway, that's how it is, right? The patriarch sitting on a chair, with a long beard and
right.
So the worries of Peter and his missing presence among his family had allowed a great teaching to be offered, to the disciples during that period of very rare and scarce fishing. But Yeshua also realized that he must do something about the fishing.
Right.
So now we're going to get to the second part of our
boy.
presentation,
Okay.
the miracle of the fish. And again, I think we're going to be introducing a notion which I'd like to discuss more with you if we can.
Sure.
Yeah. So one morning, after healing a baby who could not keep his food for more than a week, Yeshua stops on the stone pier of Capharnaum. So the whole action is taken care of near Capharnaum. And the sky was gray and the birds were flying low, so which is usually not a good sign. Because when they fly low, it's because they cannot find anything to eat.
Yeah.
So there was about 20 fishermen on the pier, a few women with baskets on their head, and 3 Romans playing dice on the ground.
Oh.
Just
typical day.
Yep.
Typical day in paradise.
So Andrew, Peter, Johanan, Eleazar, and Tade are fixing a fishing boat with some glue, so they're trying to fix the planks. And Yeshua contemplates the surface of the water. And he thinks that everything is way too calm, So at one point, he has a vision of an enormous lingam coming out of the water. And that vision appears in his mind, right? And he orders Peter and the group to board a fishing boat. And the disciples are incredulous, And only Johanna and Eleazar has a smile on his face.
This is going to be good.
This is going to be good, yeah. And I think, after his initiation, he's probably more receptive to what could happen. Yeah. And despite the irregular winds, they managed to sail away from Capharnaum. And I think it's Andrew again, which is asking, what are we doing, Master? You're not saying anything. Did you invite us to pray on the boat? I saw plenty laughing when we raised the sails, And Yeshua says, do not say a word, my brother. I beg you. The silence can sometimes offer some pearls from the invisible. Do not say a word. And without saying a word, Yeshua is going to go to the stern of the boat and he's going to sit on a bench. He's going to place his veil over his head, and close his eyes. And suddenly he hears a sound, a song, which is not a melody, but rather a wave that he can perceive in his mind, And immediately, Yeshua is going to call the source and the presence of that song. In fact, what is happening is that the group spirit of the fish in the lake appears in the mind of Yeshua. And this group spirit, the soul, with her globulous eyes, are expressing an enormous amount of compassion and reflecting the waters, And all this comes in front of Yeshua, So, of course, it is extremely difficult to represent the group's spirit of animal species, right? But I was able to find a drawing, made with AI, which I think may give an idea.
Good representation. Okay.
So
yeah.
And the gaze is offering, again, welcoming. And he was actually bowing in front of what lived inside Yeshua.
Oh.
So the group spirit is not really bowing in front of the human being,
right.
Yeshua, but the group spirit has realized that there is a solar logos, the Christ, the Christic energy living in him.
It's like, oh, I think I recognize that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so a few words came out of Yeshua's soul, And Yeshua, again, in his mind and soul says to the group spirit, give me what you know I am asking, my brother. Give it to me so that I do not have to beg you for what you know to offer me. Answer me in full balance in order for the exchange to be fair and acknowledged. And an answer is going to come deep again in Yeshua's soul, and suddenly the wind is moving the boat, and Yeshua stands up, is scanning the horizon and the surface of the water, and then he says, over there, go over there and throw your nets. And again, Andrew, are you sure, master? There is never anything in that place,
After he just put his hand through a rock.
Yeah,
how do you doubt?
Well, he didn't put the hand through the rocks. It was not. But anyway, he saw it.
Saying,
he saw
Yeshua
it.
just did it. It's like, how do you doubt that? Okay.
So the rest of the crew had already reacted, and Andrew actually was the one throwing the first net, And there was no waiting. The surface of the water was bubbling with thousands of fish of all sizes, waiting to be caught. So I don't know if
that must have been the sight.
Anybody has been in a school of fish, on the side of the beach or whatever. When it happens, I mean, it's like the water is just boiling and bubbling, right? It's incredible, And so Peter started screaming of joy, quickly imitated by Andrew, and all the nets were so full that it was almost impossible to hold them over on board.
Oh wow!
Yeah. The bottom of the boat, after a little while, was full of fish, and it was impossible to walk in it.
That was a good fishing day.
Yeah, it was an excellent fishing day, And so Yeshua was full of gratitude, and that face full of compassion and generosity, the face of the fish group spirit, that he had seen, could not leave his mind. So Yeshua was feeling a silent joy for Peter and the other crew members also, because now at that point, they will be able to bring something back to the shore, right?
Right.
Yeah. And finally, the last piece of joy for Yeshua was that it was the first time for him that he was connecting and exchanging with the group spirit of the animal kingdom.
Oh, it's his first time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's take a few minutes to talk about the group spirit of animals. I think it's important to know that each animal species is driven by a group spirit. Animals are not individualized per se.
Okay.
They may have an embryo of soul, but they are not individualized in the way we are, right?
Okay.
They are not conscious that they exist at that point.
Right.
I mean, they have some reflexes, survival reflexes, like everybody else.
Right.
But they don't have the same understanding.
That awareness
of
themselves,
that we
right?
do. Yeah. So their whole behavior, reproduction, and everything is driven by the group spirit. So there is a group spirit for dogs, and probably group spirit for different varieties of dogs.
Oh,
group spirit for cats, group spirits for frogs, snakes, insects, and so forth. Yeah, and fish, obviously, and probably multiple group spirits depending on the type of fish.
That's a lot of group spirits,
yeah. And I think I mean, again, this is something I've read in other books and from other teachings, but you can become a group spirit of animals as a form of training to what you could become later as a group spirit of human beings or as a creator.
Okay.
Of cell density force density beings. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway. And as you can expect, the news of that miraculous fishing, went ballistic.
Oh, yeah.
It was raising quarrels, jealousies, envies, and all kinds of positive and negative things. And Peter was not sure what to do with all these fish, and he decided to give it away for free on the pier. That was very generous of him. Very nice gesture, yeah. And what he was saying is, he said, all these fish is not mine. No, it's not mine. It belongs to the Eternal, to a one who is using me for you.
It's funny.
And so
he didn't want to take any credit for it. No. It's like, I didn't do this.
Yeah. And so Johanna and Eleazar, Miriam, Simon, Shlomit, Yakuba, Tade, all these people are now distributing all these fish on the pier, for free. And guess what? Even some Pharisees and Sadducees are coming to get some.
Well, of course.
Of course, yeah. And so one of the Sadducees, which is the intellectual and the rich caste, of the Palestinian people at that time, one of the Sadducees named Clopas asks, where did you fish all this? If you found a secret place, you must tell it.
I want that fishing hole.
And Yeshua, hearing that, gets close to Clopas. Oh, and Clopas says, oh, Rabbi, I'm sure you know the place where they found all that fish, right? That secret location. Because supposedly you were there. Supposedly. And Yeshua tells Clopas, yes, I know it, Clopas. But if I tell you, you will not believe me.
That's for sure.
So you went further than Tiberiad, right? And Yeshua responds, oh, yes, much further for sure. And Clopas says, on the other side of the lake. And Yeshua,
can I get the coordinates, please?
Yeshua, yes, if you want, on the other side where nobody dares going. And Clopas, you're kidding me. Everybody goes everywhere. And Yeshua says, yes, except where the secret is. And Clopas, so are you going to tell me? And Yeshua places his hand on his heart in the middle of his chest, and he says, here, Clopas.
He's not going to get it.
And the Sadducee, remains stupid, and all the color are leaving his face. He becomes white. And Yeshua tells him, it is in that place where we never go, my brother. Do you sail towards it every day? You can ask him anything. This is exactly what I did, and the fish came easily.
Pray and it'll come. Is that what he's trying to tell him?
Yeah, or go inside yourself, go in your heart. And Clopas says, why? Why does the fish come easily? Trembling, And Yeshua goes, because there are as many fish as stars in the sky at night, and because abundance is the truth of the Eternal. And we always forget that.
We do.
Our
we
world
fall
is
into
made
lack
of
mode.
abundance, yeah.
And
the powers to be are trying to create.
They want to make
lack.
sure we stay in lack.
Yes, exactly, yeah. So the miracle of the fish story, has traveled throughout Galilee, but also all the way down to Judea. And people started coming from all horizons to see the rabbi in white who was doing miracles. So I don't know exactly how this is presented in the Bible, but I'm sure they talk about it, right? Yeah, unfortunately, not many were able to transform themselves, and the problem remained the same today, People expect, exige, and nothing comes.
Right.
Hope, love, and it finally comes to you. Perhaps not in the way you imagine it, but to fulfill what you really need.
Right. Well, the main thing is to surrender and trust and have patience.
Exactly.
Because what happens, people lose patience and then they end up going down a different road until they get back on again to the right track.
So well said. Yeah. And Yeshua is finally saying that, proofs are the requests of the ignorance of life. However, and we are now moving to the third part of our presentation. Basically, we are meeting a new character, Nicodemius. Okay, so not all people coming from Jerusalem were curious and naysayers. There was also some pure hearts and well-intentioned people, and one of them is Nicodemius. He's a friend of Uncle Yusuf. And Nicodemius is a member of the Sanhedrin. He's also a Pharisee. So we know that Uncle Yusuf is also a member of the Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin is the religious and political authorities in the country of Palestine at that point. It was a group. I forgot exactly how many there were. I think 18 or 20 people. Okay, and they are absolutely the top of the top, and that's why Uncle Yusuf belongs to them.
Okay.
Yeah. And when he came to see Yeshua, Nicodemus was wearing a very common brown robe, and not the fancy and ostentatious clothes that the Sanhedrin normally wear. So obviously he wanted to be incognito, discreet and incognito. Yeah. And he goes to Yeshua, Rabbi, what should I think of this incredible fishing that you created 2 weeks ago? Will you tell me the truth about it? I do not want to go back to Jerusalem without understanding who you are, and this despite all the things your Uncle Yusuf told me about you. If the eternal expresses itself through you, I want to feel it by myself. To believe is easy, and Yeshua interrupts him. Thus, you are a member of the Sanhedrin and did not hesitate to come here. You are not like the other ones.
A real seeker.
And Nicodemus again says, this is exactly what Uncle Yusuf tells me, but I speak to you frankly. When I watch sheep like I do now, I feel like I am one of them, with my habits and routines. It is reassuring to be a sheep who always recognize the taste of its grass. However, and Yeshua says, however, and Nicodemus goes, however, something inside me cannot stop being sad. And that sadness tells me that a time comes when a man must get out of this little patch where it has always grazed. And Yeshua responds to that. To have the soul of the wanderer and to embrace the moment. Does it speak to you, my brother? And Nicodemus says, is it possible to find peace in the stagnation of the present moment and at the same time to move forward, Rabbi? I know the scripture and cannot find any of that wisdom in them. And Yeshua responds, who talks about the scriptures and who told you that there will not be others to come in the future? And Nicodemus again responds, are you saying that not all has been revealed to us already? And Yeshua says, what do you think, you? If everything is there and you have studied the laws, why do you feel like a sad sheep? And Nicodemus responds, I do not know, but I think I'm coercing myself to not think about it. And Yeshua goes, and for which reasons are you coercing yourself? Nicodemus says, I do not know either. And Yeshua, but still, why? And at that moment, Yeshua stops talking, and Nicodemus places his hand in front of his face, and he starts sobbing.
Aww.
Yeah.
he definitely touched something here for him,
definitely
right? I
touches
mean,
him.
he
Yeah.
needed to have that conversation.
Right, exactly. That
Yeah.
awakening, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Yeshua thinks that he has never seen a Pharisee cry. But he said, he thinks in himself, But if one could do it, then the others were also capable of it.
Yeah.
And finally, Nicodemius, stands up and asks, Rabbi, you did not tell me about the miraculous fishing, but now it's not necessary because I know it is true. And at that point, Yeshua is going to take Nicodemus in his arms and teasing him, he says, but still, why?
Wow, that was really enlightening to see that he was doing those kinds of teachings. And
I mean, I love
helping
those
people
teachings.
expand and understand who they are.
They're so deep, so profound. I mean, and they could be today, yeah.
Easily.
We could benefit from that today. Nothing has changed.
Coming from the scriptures would be even better, right?
Yeah,
everybody
you wouldn't find that in the scriptures.
I know, but it would be nice because.
And I think it's a big plus of the memories of nature that we can actually present to the audience, teachings which have never and will never be in the scriptures.
Right. Yeah. And good teachings.
Yes.
I mean, this is what we're all supposed to learn to do.
Right.
So, wow, thank you. That was really, really good.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much for tuning back into us, and we'll see you next time.